everybody. Welcome back to the Marketing Connect podcast. And Barry and I are already chuckling a little bit because I can't count. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But
AI can help with that, by the way.
yeah. So my name is Tom Livy. I am the one of the co-founders and the current CEO of Marketing Connect, and this is my podcast. I love talking to sales and marketing people. It's one of my favorite things to do. I always seem to learn something every time I talk to one of my colleagues. And I brought back today Barry Braunstein for a very particular subject matter that we're going to talk about today. But before I get into it, I'll let Barry, if you could remind everybody who you are and what you do really quickly, and then I'm just going to jump right in. So we'll do the brief intro this time.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Barry Braunstein. I'm a headshot and portrait photographer for individuals and businesses. I create headshots you'll actually love that amplify your brand.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. So today's topic of conversation on the podcast is essentially the hot topic that's been running our social media now for what, a year, maybe a year or so, a year and a half.
At
AI.
least, yep.
So my question is very simple. I'm going to pose it to you like this, and then we can just go off on whatever tangent you want. AI, friend or foe? What are your thoughts, Barry? Friend or foe?
So first of all, I'm a geek. I love technology. I've been a geek since I was in high school and everything, and so I'm thrilled by technology. At the same time, I think there's a lot of hype around it. And I think AI is one of those things that there's a huge amount of hype around it from everything from what it can do on the good side, right, to all of the negative stuff that it will do, and it's going to cost people jobs and, put people out of work. And I was listening to an interview the other day where they said this is starting to sound like, utopia or whatever, where man is just going to sit back and everything is going to be done with either AI or robots. And so what the hell are we going to do, And I'm like, okay, can we just cut this back a little bit? So I think the net of AI is that it's positive, right? Um, as a photographer, there's a lot of people in photography land who look at AI and saying, "Oh, it's going to put us out of business" and all of this other stuff, right? And yes, you can get for $29 or $39, you can send your image that you'd had taken of you at your cousin's wedding, and they'll make that AI will make it into a headshot, right? Is it the headshot you want to put on your LinkedIn profile or whatever it is? I wouldn't. I've seen them. I've seen the work. It's amazing what it does, right? But what do you expect for 39 bucks? You're not going to get what it is that a person can provide. So, and my other argument against that is number two is that the person who's going to spend $39 in a headshot, they're not my target market or customers anyway. So I'm not going to lose those people because I probably never were going to have them in the first place. On the other hand, AI has made my job somewhat easier, particularly when I'm doing editing. I mean, the AI tools that Adobe is putting in Photoshop are unbelievable, right? Now, you need to know what you're doing when you're using it, just like anything else. But, I had a client whose collar on their jacket was a little bit too far away. And I remember trying to fix it in while we were shooting, and we just couldn't get it right or when everything. So I went into AI and I did some thing. I went into Photoshop and I used their AI tools to fix it. And it was incredible. Like this, I got a better looking collar. Now that would have taken me 15, 20 minutes to do, and it probably wouldn't have even looked as good as the AI did. So my reaction to AI is that it's not a be all end all. Um, I don't use it to write my blogs or anything like that. I may use it to get me started on writing something, but it's not my voice, right? And I can knock out an article fairly quickly. And as I'm writing it, I'm also, my process is I'm coming up with other ideas and other directions I want to go when I'm writing it. So I don't want AI writing an article for me, but it may help me get started or generate some ideas or give me a starting point. But after that, I'm going to take it over. So, I think that AI in the hands of a professional is another tool in the toolbox. But I don't think it's going to put all of us photographers and graphic designers and salespeople. I've heard that's the other thing. I've heard that it's going to put salespeople out of business. No, it again, it may be a tool for them, but I don't see it. I don't see it's going to do all of that stuff. And so I think we got to get away from all of the hype and fear and everything and get back to, this is what it does. And there are things to be concerned about. I mean, on the whole flip side of it, the fact that it can generate, a likeness in voice and a likeness in videos and everything and create these fake stuff, that's something we're going to have to figure out, right? It's scary what some of that stuff can do. So, it's not all a panacea, but it's not all dark either. So,
So about two-thirds of the way into that, I was thinking, okay, if I had to nail you to a side and said friend or foe, you were thinking friend, and then you throw a couple things at the end there that make me think, oh, maybe not. But so 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 in your so you're thinking that, and I like the way you worded, toward the end of there where you said, you know, in the right hands, right? In professional hands, it's a tool. So, and I remember, and for those of you who are a little younger, you may not remember. And just so you know, Barry and I are both old enough I remember them announcing the invention of the at sign for email, like T-Libby at blah blah blah, whatever. I remember the day that they said there's this new thing with the A in a circle, blah blah blah. I remember that newsreel, so that's how old we are. Anyway, um,
I
but
won't tell you how much older I am than that, but go ahead.
no, I was just I make that reference point because I would for the next question, which was because I remember when that day came out, like when that episode of the newsreel aired, and the hype around the U.S. Postal Service will no longer exist in 5 years, and that
Yep,
was, let me just tell you, a lot longer than 5 years ago. I mean, it had to
yep.
be what, 40 maybe? Maybe no, 40, maybe
Uh,
35 years ago, something like that.
30 some odd years ago.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
35,
yeah,
maybe let's just call it 35 just to make it easy for my math in my head. So 35 years ago, and guess what? The US Postal Service is still in business. And so
yep,
and then when the internet started like just driving social media down our necks, it was, personal interaction was going to go down the toilet, and that didn't either.
yep,
So
yep,
to your point, it's a kind of it's the hype, um it's the hype time frame right now, right? Like it's
yep,
because it's
yep,
all the buzz and it's all so I guess my so now I'll actually back into my question here, because I remember when those points in history happened, one of the things that you mentioned were, oh, all these people are going to be out of work, all these people are going to be out of business, all these people, and yet our unemployment rates never drastically change. Like we always
right,
hover around the same.
right.
Within 5 percentage points, our national unemployment rate kind of bounces between
Mm,
5 percentage points. So if
yep,
AI is just a tool, how do you feel like it's going to change that perspective? Like it's gonna take a bunch of jobs. And by the way, the internet, social media, it did actually eliminate a bunch of jobs. I'm just like, just be clear
sure,
here. But we didn't
sure.
go unemployed. Like, so
No,
how do you
no.
think that that's going to work out with the whole AI movement?
Same thing, right? I mean, this goes back to even when the horse and buggy was replaced by the automobile. I don't remember that. I'm not that old. But, there was all of this, I remember reading about there was all of this fear that, all of the horsemen were going to get put out of business. Well, guess what? It created jobs, right? It created jobs for factory workers and steel mills and, all sorts of things. So, are people's jobs going to be affected? Maybe, probably, but other new jobs are going to be created, right? There's people who are now figuring out how do we use AI, right? So a lot of business, myself included, are still trying to figure out what to do with it. Um, and there's all of this hype, and there's new companies being formed that offer AI-based tools. AI is, it's the latest and greatest. Everything now is AI, in software or whatever. If you don't have some kind of AI in your tool, then, you're considered antiquated. Well, all of that is going to take people to implement, people to consult, people to help businesses figure out how to use AI and then implement it or integrate it into their existing business and processes. And so new jobs are being created while maybe some of the older jobs aren't. And I think are being eliminated or changed. And I do think that what that means is, and again, this is historical, there's going to have to be a readjustment and retraining or whatever of people, right? People are going to have to learn these new things, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. But I think we have to be realistic that yes, some jobs may be eliminated. There's a lot of talk right now that software developers 5 years ago, if you said you were going to get your degree in software development, that was a ticket to writing basically your own check. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, your own income, right? And now there's a lot of fear that, well, AI can write code. Okay. But who's going to train and how are we going to get the AI to the point where it can do that? And how do you implement that? Well, that's going to take people with knowledge of AI and software. So, there's a shift and a thing that I think we have to realize that we're going to have to adapt to this, and people are going to have to learn perhaps new skills and everything else. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's how we progress.
Yeah.
It's happened countless times in industry and everything. And we'll get there. And but I do think, not on the dark side, but I think we do have to be aware. I'm more concerned about where AI can be used for nefarious uses than I am of the losing of the jobs piece, because I think that's a harder problem that could potentially affect more people, innocent people who don't realize that they're being scammed and stuff like that. And we've got to figure out a way of somehow mitigating against that.
Yeah, very true. And I think that's where we need to have some sort of maybe worldwide committee on like AI ethics or something like that, where we can, police. I hate to use that word, but police some of
Sure.
the
No.
capabilities and the way that we deploy the deployment of that and stuff like that. So I agree. I actually agree that now that being said, the way that the world works, we're never going to get 208 countries to send one representative to let's make sure everybody's using AI properly.
No.
We're not going to do
No,
that.
no, no, no.
But I
No.
do think you're right. I think that it's I love it as a tool. I love it as, for certain things. I love the fact that you mentioned the way that you write with it, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Someone's presenting themselves as a thought leader, and then you realize that most of what they're writing is coming from one of the AI, LLMs, right? Like whether it's Chat or
Yep.
Claude or whatever, right? It doesn't even matter. And no matter how
Yep.
well you prompt it, it's still not your voice. So it's still not you. You
Right.
can't claim to be a thought leader and then use Chat GPT to write your blogs for you. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
No.
But people are portraying them like they're using it that way, which I don't like. But so I
Yep.
meant I like the so anyway, so all right, so we're gonna wrap up here, and I want your final. You can only have one choice here, Barry. It has to be friend or
Oh,
foe. You
jeez.
can't play the middle of the
This
road.
goes against my grain, by the way. I don't want to be put. Why do I have to be put in a category or do this? But if I am going to vote, I will. It's your podcast. So if I am gonna vote, I will vote that it's positive.
All right, it's a friend. Got it. Got it.
It's a friend.
All right, sir.
It,
Barry, thank you. As always, every time you're on the podcast here, we have a lot of fun. It's great talking with you. I really enjoy having you on me and on the podcast. And I will say that no matter what topic I think of for the next episodes of the podcast, you're going to be the first one I reach out to to get this stuff underway because it's just a lot of fun. So I appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much for being on the podcast again, and I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Oh, I enjoy this very much, Tom. I love what you're doing, and I love to do this. And thank you for having me here.
Awesome. And for everybody out there, keep selling.